Hello there, and welcome to a very special op attack video. And I say that it's very special because this is the first time that our task force has been able to take down sour grapes. We've tried it a couple of times, we've kind of run up against a roadblock and haven't been able to get it down, and we finally did it with perseverance, and I thought it was very exciting and kind of figured, hey, this makes a perfect backdrop to, as always, plug the task force. Because actually right now we are full, but, you know, people kind of come in and out and rotate through. There's always some people who are quitting or moving on to different task forces, and basically, you know, if I can plug it, I'll plug it. Even if we can't fill the gap, we can make a gap, I promise. So, shameless plugging. We want better. No. Alright, anyways, but yeah, I figured it would make an awesome backdrop to some of the stuff that's kind of been going on since the update, because there has been a lot of, I don't know if I'd say, like, I don't know if I'd say drama, because it's certainly no Bandgate. Bandgate had some drama, like Kim Kardashian going to the supermarket level drama. I've never actually watched an episode of The Kardashians, so if that's kind of not what happens on that show, I apologize now. For the record, throwing that out there. But yes, anyways, back to the op. Basically, everybody kind of came together, did a great job. It took a pretty good portion of the task force, so kind of everyone was involved. It was great to see. And I definitely wanted to throw out some extra special shout-outs to a couple of people for a couple of attacks that I thought were really, really well done. This is maybe not one of them. It's not a bad attack. I'd say it's standard. And obviously the wide open, let's clear this attack, not a big deal. However, the attack after this one, I gotta say, it's done by a strategic genius who's incredibly handsome and well-spoken and smart and handsome and incredibly humble, and, you know, I can't remember who the next attack is, but I'm sure we're gonna get to it in a few minutes. Anyways, if you haven't already figured it out, you will in a minute. Basically, this is the, I guess, first core, or the first base that we started attacking. I've kind of linked them all together so that it's not all scattered around and everything, but we took the first one out, and I feel like that animation has changed. Oh, here's that next attack. Oh, I never would have expected. Oh, look, that's me. Alright, so maybe all the things I said were lies. I never said I was necessarily honest, right? So, basically with my attack, I was going in, I knew I had very little hope of taking down the actual core, but I was kind of there to open the door for the next person to come in, because I just didn't have the GBE to kind of pull it off. So, doing a good old-fashioned smoky landing, for those of you who don't know, you flare over in the corner, and then you time your Zookas to come out as that leading edge kind of shows up. In my case, mistake number one of this attack, right there, I didn't think about the stupid shock launcher, which peeved me off, because it obviously hurt the Zookas quite badly, and I ended up having to blow a healing kit on them just to kind of get them topped up. Also, what I wasn't expecting is the way they crowded around this. See, my initial plan was to shock the shock launcher and the flamethrower and kind of hit them both at the same time and then take things out. With the way things kind of grouped up there, it really messed me up, and I guess lesson learned, obviously. I definitely will come up with a better plan next time, but I really, it could have been better. I could have done more, which is okay, because it still got taken care of, most importantly. So basically here, I'm running through, clearing out the machine guns for the next person coming through, clearing out what defenses I can, and this is really mistake number 2 right here. I was not expecting my troops to move into range of that rocket launcher quite so quickly. But once I flare over into my little corner here, I can sit back and my little one Zooka will clearly do mad damage. I'm not even going to make you watch the rest of this because, let's be honest, no one wants to watch that. But that will bring us to Keisoze, the task force leader, and he does a fantastic job here using the same landing technique, if you would. He's landing Riflemen and Zookas because that's how he rolls, and kind of gets everything up on the HQ here. And after the smoke clears, wham! All those poor riflemen just get slaughtered by the rocket launcher. I love watching that. Don't tell him I said that. He'd be pissed at me. But the important part is he has a nice solid little group of Zookas tucked away in that back corner, and they can pew-pew away to get us base number 2, which gets us to the point where we can see the new animation again, which I don't know. I can't remember. It's like one of those things where I don't know if I'm creating the memory and it's not really there, or if it really is there. But I don't remember the animation for the blowed up core for an op being quite so cool looking. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it was sour grapes and, you know, I'm rocking that sugar high from actually taking it down. Either way. So, also, speaking of the latest update, recently, like with all things of the internet and pretty much every game I have ever played, of course, with every update comes good and bad things, and people incredibly outraged and typing furiously. I know I have been that person more than once. So, I know one of the big things is the resource bases. So, basically, I mentioned it in another video previously. If you don't know, it turns out it was a bug. At the time, it was explained to me as a bug, but on hindsight, I was like, well, maybe they intended it, and it turns out it was a bug. And basically, what it was doing was giving incredibly low-level resource bases to anyone who went looking for a new resource base rather, and this messed up apparently a lot of people. Like, there were a lot of people who just had resource bases forever and never got attacked, and suddenly now everyone's trying to attack them because they've got this fancy new resource base. And I'm not gonna lie, I have level 30, two of them were like level 37 and level 36 resource bases that no one had attacked in months and months and months. I forgot they were even there, and now that this bug has kicked in, I've got people attacking non-stop, which, you know what, I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind, because it gives me a chance to do what I like to do in this game, which is blow things up. So I personally don't get the indignation and outrage of, you know, all these things, but to each their own. Obviously, some people just want to sit on the bases and not have to do anything. I also do get, like, for people who are turtling, resource bases are a huge deal because that's the vast majority of their resources. If you're out there and you're an offensive player like myself, you're like clearing your map, you're getting 4 million of every resource and, you know, strolling on down to Upgrade Town. But I get that the turtles out there have to, you know, save up for several days using all those resource bases and very slowly working their way towards an upgrade. And for them, absolutely, it would be painful. But on the plus side, at least you get to test your skills without necessarily having to work up your VP now. Sorry, it's the best I got for you. Anyways, and then along with that, apparently the troop loading bug is pretty nasty. It'll lose you a bunch of gold. I hadn't experienced that one, fortunately, but I did see on Reversal's I think it's his live stream or maybe one of his videos. The point is, he was talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, that's good to know," because like just later that evening, I went to load my troops and realized half my troops were being refreshed, and I would have lost a mountain of money. So, thank you for spreading the information around. Which then, of course, brings us to all of the... how do I put this? There were some shady happenings a-brewing after the old update there. Or I guess during the update. Before technically the update. Because it was the sneak preview. Apparently a bunch of the more well-known YouTubers got a sneak peek preview at the new patch so that they could, you know, check out the new content and do some things and, you know, make life a little easier on them. And a couple of things happened around this that kind of blew my mind. I never really expected it to happen. But basically, one of the big things was people actually were grabbing their videos off of YouTube that they had been releasing, rebranding it under their own brand, and then re-releasing the footage, which I don't know. I guess that's a thing. I never really considered the possibility of doing that because there's some sort of... There's got to be a protection of some kind about making copies of things and, you know, having the right to not have your stuff copied. Some sort of rights to not copying. Anyways, maybe the people should look into this sort of thing. Also, I don't know, like, maybe I'm one of the only ones that, like, sat there like a great big dork watching the YouTube, like, don't do this, don't do that videos. For people who haven't made videos for YouTube, really fantastic. They give you a lot of information. They basically tell you, like, hey, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do, you've got to make sure you do this, this is how our system works. Very nice, very straightforward, and really well put together, and somewhat entertaining, maybe if you have a drink or two while you're doing it. But yeah, I was kind of shocked to see that happen, and I kind of partially found it funny because, well, it wasn't my stuff that was being stolen, but also I took it as a bit of an eye-opener where things can get, I guess, a little cutthroat when people are trying to see new content or provide new content. And it's kind of like a, I don't know, chicken and egg scenario where if you get big, you get fancy, you know, privileges, but you need to get the privileges to get big because other people do it. And so a lot of people were getting really upset. Now, personally, I figure these guys have put years and years and years into this. They have put blood, sweat, and tears, no doubt. Probably a lot of tears. Maybe not so much blood, unless, of course, you know, they fell over while they were making a video, maybe. But, and definitely lots of sweat. Like I tell you, summer hits, the computer starts getting warm, trying to render some videos, pumping the heat out, for sure sweat. But yeah, I definitely cannot begrudge the, I guess, big YouTubers that got this preview. It wasn't necessarily that Supercell was trying to show them preferential treatment or anything like that. Supercell was trying to provide information so that the player base could, look forward to seeing something and helping content creators and stuff. I thought it was a great use of community. Apparently, not everyone feels the same, and that's completely understandable, but, I guess, c'est la vie. Live and let live. Also, what was interesting that kind of came from this whole spiral of people stealing videos and people being upset about previews and this and that and all these different things, was that I noticed just from looking at bug fixes and everything, as I've been trying to kind of keep up and see what's changing and what's happening, keep relevant on the news and whatnot, and I noticed something that I found incredibly interesting. Supercell is actually active and listening, which I've played a lot of games over a lot of time, and I have played games that just gave absolutely zero craps about what any of the gamers said. They were, like, we're doing our thing, this is what we're doing, and we don't care. Have a nice day if you don't like it, bye-bye. And it's... Personally, I find it really great to see that Supercell is actually out there and trying to actively listen and make things better. So, even if they don't get everything 100% perfect, because, let's be honest, they're human, and there's no human that is 100% perfect, they're trying, they're improving, they're doing their thing, and massive kudos to the Supercell, I guess, staff and policies or whatever you want to say, because honestly they're doing a lot better job than a lot of other people out there. Might not be a perfect job, but at least they're trying, and that's all we can ask from them, right? And that said, why so many bugs? Why? No, honestly, I don't care. I loved every single one of them. I thought the resource-based thing mixed things up. It gave me a lot more combat options, which is why I play the game. The loadout thing kind of sucked, but hey, I didn't have that before, so by not using it, I wasn't really missing out on anything. And I don't know, there were probably some other bugs, but I'm not too worried about them because things happen, man. Anyways, thanks guys for watching through this, seeing what happened with our op attacks, seeing our good and not so good attacks. I somehow rambled through a couple people's attacks that I actually wanted to reference and be like, I really love what this guy did here and his movements and his troop control. It was fantastic. But, it is what it is. So, hopefully you found this informational and entertaining, or everything. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic day.